Well, moving on now, and Western Australia's state election could be pushed back by a week if the Prime Minister calls the federal election for March the 8th. Premier Roger Cook says the PM has until February to set that as the potential date. Joining us now is WA's opposition leader, Shane Love. Shane Love, thanks for coming to the studio. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
What do you make of this deadline that the Premier has given the PM?
Well, the deadline is a nonsense because all that is just the writs period, which is required the writs are issued weeks out before the election. So the deadline is already there for February, and probably be actually sometime in January that the Prime Minister would have to move if he wanted to set the date on the 8th of March for the election federally.
Okay, and just explain for us how easy or otherwise that is to do, to actually move the election date. Does it need your approval?
Well, it does under certain circumstances, depending on how far they want to move the election. But the election's been set in stone. The date's been known since the Act was brought in, I think, back in 2009 or thereabouts. So all the dates have been set in stone ever since. So the Prime Minister knows very well that this is a date which is going to greatly inconvenience Western Australia, but not the Electoral Commission in Western Australia. All of those people who have to man the booths for the Electoral Commission, they've all been planning for a date, and this is just a disruption which is ridiculous. That's still going on 3 days after this all erupted in the first place. Why doesn't the Prime Minister just come out and rule out setting the date to clash with the election in Western Australia? It's a simple thing for him to do. And it's not a simple thing for the Western Australian Electoral Commission to run an election on a different day when it's been planning for the 8th of March.
So from what you said there, I assume if Roger Cook comes to you and says, hey, Shane, what do you reckon? Can you agree with me? And we go to the Governor to change the date. It's a hard no from you?
Look, it would be, to me, a sign that Anthony Albanese has really signalled that he cares nothing for the people of Western Australia, nothing for our industries, for our voting system. I've said it before, Albanese doesn't give a stuff about Western Australia. Otherwise, he'd come out and he would say now that this is not going to happen. He'll set a date that doesn't clash with the Western Australian election. I will not be standing aside for Anthony Albanese, and we will be doing what we think is right for the people of Western Australia if that comes about.
Okay, looking at the state election, we saw a recent poll published in the West Australian suggesting around a 14% swing against the state Labor Party and the Cook government. That vote all seemed to go to the Liberals, though. It didn't look like the Nationals had really picked up any extra support. The Nationals vote was pretty steady. Just to explain to our East Coast viewers, you've had the title of opposition leader because the Nationals performed better than the Liberals at the last WA state election. Were you disappointed to see that, having been elevated to that role, that you didn't get more support in the latest polls?
The poll that matters is the one that should be on the 8th of March in 2025.
I've heard that one before.
I'm not actually that concerned about a poll of a few hundred people, probably in metropolitan areas, which probably doesn't reflect our true position across the state in any case. 4%, if that is across the metro area, then that's new territory for us anyway. So I'm not particularly concerned about that because I know that our membership is swelling. Our membership, I heard several months ago, had doubled in the last 18 months or so since I've been the leader. And I think that that's an indication that there is strong support for us in the community. So I'm not particularly concerned about one poll that's in the newspaper.
Does it seem unlikely, though, the Nationals will be able to hold on to that opposition leader title after the next state election?
I'm not interested in I'm interested in the leadership of the opposition after the next election. What I want to see is an end to the Labor government in Western Australia, and we're working very hard to bring that about. And I'm sure that the Liberal Party will also be working hard to bring that about. When the results are in, we'll sit down and we'll work out how we can proceed from there.
The WA Nationals and Liberals have had a fraught relationship over decades now. Would you be willing to enter a formal coalition if that's what it takes to get your Conservative side of politics into government?
For as long as I can remember, the WA Nationals and the Liberal Party, when in government, have worked together very well. There's always been either an alliance or a coalition arrangement in every government that I can remember. So we will continue to do that. In fact, over the last 4 years, I think we've had a stronger working relationship with the Liberal Party than in the preceding 4 years. So we have actually done very well with the numbers of members of Parliament that we have to actually ensure that the normal accountability in Parliament has taken place. The questions are still asked at question time. The estimate committees still operate. The questions on notice and the freedom of information requests and all of the matters are still carried out with, I think, actually more effectively than they were the 4 years before.
Okay. Shane Love, really appreciate you coming in. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ashley.